Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to another Wild Rift video, and you guys know it, with a new patch, new changes, comes a new tier list. A lot has changed yet again, except for the support role. Only one champion really changed in the support role, but all the other roles, quite a lot has changed. So, let's just immediately get into it. So, this is the Baron lane tier list. By the way, there's timestamps in the description if you just want to see the tier list and don't care about me talking, but okay. We can see that Gragas has finally dropped from the S plus tier. So I was a bit skeptical about this. I was really thinking through about this, like, is this change really gonna bring Gragas down from S plus tier to S tier? And then I was like, no, it is not. And I'm just teasing you guys with this. Gragas is still broken, he's still broken. I was just trolling you guys with this one. He didn't go down to the S tier. He's still definitely S plus tier. Although he would not be completely utterly broken anymore. The armor nerf is not gonna do anything. The only nerf that is actually gonna do something on Gragas is the nerf on the first ability. The first ability is not gonna be the most obnoxious, annoying, slowing ability anymore. They actually reduced the slow, but he's still S plus tier, still the best Baron laner in the game. I actually brought up Fiora, and the reason for that is even with the HP nerf, man, Fiora just, what the hell, man, she's so strong. I even almost put her in the S plus tier again, because I started playing Fiora again, and man, she just wins every lane. In the late game, she's unbeatable, such a strong champion, really, guys. Renekton, really good duelist. He does fall off in the late game a little bit, but that early mid game power, really strong. Riven, as I always say, Riven, the most underrated Baron laner in the game. I have a lot of Riven videos. I really suggest you to watch them, because if you get good at Riven, you literally get free games. You just win free games. She's so powerful. Although her only weakness is CC. So if you're against a composition that does not have a lot of CC, you can absolutely steamroll them with Riven. Really, she's absolutely unkillable if you play her right. Her abilities are on such a low cooldown. It's just completely broken if picked in the right draft. Garen, he's so tanky. By the way, guys, I have a very pleasant surprise for Garen very soon. No other words. Although I want to talk about the Greenfoot. This is Akshan. As you can see, this tier list does not have Akshan. And let me just tell you, Akshan in the Baron lane is actually quite strong. And now that I'm thinking about it, I would almost even put it in the A tier. But yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put it even in the middle of the A tier, somewhere here. It's just so powerful. I've played it, and the thing is, it's so strong. However, in the very late game, you will struggle against tanks with Akshan. That's the only problem, really. But if you're not against a lot of tanks, and if your teammates deal some nice damage against the tanks, you are gonna do so much damage. His laning phase is really powerful. You can pretty much win every single lane in the early game. And you guys know the passive of Akshan, of the second ability. When you kill an enemy that has killed one of your allies, you revive your ally. This is absolutely insane in the late game, because the timers are going to be really long, right? And this is what makes Akshan viable in the late game as well. And now he also deals a lot of damage with a crit build. I'm probably going to make an Akshan video very soon, showing you guys how strong he really is in the Baron lane. Vayne still on very close to the 80. I don't see anyone play Vayne in the Baron lane. She is strong, guys. Just make sure you have a tank. She is really strong in the Baron lane. Singed, also quite underrated, really strong champion. He just doesn't have solo carry potential, but if you get fed on Singed, man, he becomes an unkillable tank. Enemies can literally not chase you down, because your fart gas is gonna slow everyone and it's gonna do a lot of damage. However, the nerf to Liandry's does hurt Singed, so he's gonna deal quite significant amount of less damage, but still he's gonna be really strong. We actually have Jarvan here. I started playing Jarvan in the Baron lane. Let me tell you, he has really strong poking in the Baron lane. But Jarvan just doesn't feel as strong anymore. That's why he's in the B tier. And after Jarvan we got Jax. And I'm also playing Jax, by the way. Jax is he's definitely the fastest turret pusher. There is no one that can push turrets faster than Jax, by the way. But it really feels like he takes way too long to come online, because Jax is really weak in the early and mid game. But when you reach that super late game with 4 or 5 items, he becomes unbeatable. But up until that point, you're gonna be losing most of your matchups, most of the team fights, and the only thing you can really do is split push, guys. So the other champions. Oh, about Cannon. They did buff him a little bit, but I feel like it's not quite enough. We might, he might go up in the A tier. We will see, but I feel like it's just not enough, guys. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you give it a like and put down a comment under the video, giving away 10 skins on YouTube and also 5 skins on Instagram. Check it out, just put down comments. That's all you enter. It's easy. Okay, on to the jungle. So, even though the 2 champions in the S plus tier got a nerf, I still put them in the S plus tier. Guys, Xin Chao is just... This champion is so strong. They only nerfed this early game, which is fine, He's not gonna be like super dominant in the early game anymore. But when you reach that mid game, late game, it's still Xin Chao. He's still gonna be incredibly powerful, and that early game nerf is not gonna hurt him as much. So he's still the best jungler in the game. He's just absolutely powerful, counters the meta junglers as well, and just really good jungler in the game right now. Same goes for Kha'Zix. They did nerf his early game as well, but once you reach the mid-late game, you won't really feel the nerf anymore. He's still gonna be as strong. It's just the early game. His jungle clear is a bit slower, and his early game power is weaker. But once you level up, as I said again, it doesn't matter a lot anymore. Lee Sin, really powerful. Camille, really powerful. We know. Wukong. Rengar, guys. Rengar also, man. But the thing about Rengar is he's an assassin, but his one-shotting potential is through the roof. It's just out of this world how much damage he deals, how much burst damage he deals. In the mid-late game, he just absolutely one-shots ADCs. It's so annoying to play against a Rengar because you cannot do anything against it. He will literally one-shot you. So that's really the whole power of Rengar. If he cannot one-shot, he's garbage tier. But I put him in the S tier because of his one-shot potential. Evelynn, same as Rengar. Evelynn, exactly the same. Her one-shotting potential. They nerfed her really hard. Like, they kept nerfing her and nerfing her and nerfing her. But still, her one-shotting potential is absolutely insane. However, you do have to reach the mid-late game. In the early game, she might struggle a little bit because they nerfed the damage of her first ability. But once you reach the mid-late game, get some items, you focus the right targets, she's really strong. Also, her ganking is really good. Master Yi in the A tier, guys. Now, let me tell you about this. Master Yi did receive a nerf. Well, they buffed him first and then they took away the buffs, a few of the buffs. He's still really strong. It's Master Yi, and although his third ability is not going to be absolutely broken anymore, he's still going to be, if you reach the late game, you're going to hard carry. But reaching the late game is just going to be a little harder now. Master Yi used to be in the S tier or even the S plus tier with the buffs. Now he just dropped to the top of the A tier. Still really powerful, but not broken anymore. I want to talk about the green foot here, which is Akshan. Again, here is Akshan. Akshan jungle is actually valuable. I've never played it, but I've seen it. And I don't really like it, but I've seen some people do really good at it. He's good at ganking because of his third ability, well, all of his abilities really. All of his abilities are good at ganking because he can become invisible. His third ability can engage, and then his ultimate is a good finisher. So he has good ganking, and he's just not tanky. That's kind of the problem, but he's decent in the jungle. That's all I want to say. He's decent, not amazing, just decent. Fiora jungle, guys. Fiora jungle can be really strong, and I am bringing you guys a Fiora jungle video very soon. You'll see it. I just feel like it's just not that strong anymore. Fiora just feels way stronger in the lane where you can utilize her passive more, but she's also strong in the jungle just because of how strong the actual champion is, guys. Riven jungle, just like Riven Baron lane, very underrated, and she's actually very strong. She does struggle a little bit with ganking, but if you get behind the enemy, you're always gonna kill them. But if you don't get behind the enemy, she's not like Lee Sin or Kha'Zix where she can just boom jump in instantly. She has small dashes, so the enemy has time to escape. Fizz jungle, by the way, is still viable. I'm not saying it's not viable, but his clear is just so slow now, and you can get invaded so easily. So I don't believe Fizz jungle is going to be that strong anymore, because you can get invaded so easily. The enemy can just easily punish you by going into your jungle and killing you in the early game. You're just super weak. Alright, on to the mid lane. And as you guys can see, we have 4 champions in the S plus tier. Now, I need to say something about Corki though. Corki is only S plus tier if you're facing a lot of melees who have a lot of armor, like Garen, Alistar, Braum, these types of champions that just have a lot of armor, because Corki shreds through that armor and is really powerful against those types of champions. Otherwise, Corki would be S tier. So I put him in the S plus tier if you pick him into the right draft, which you can do quite easily because there's a lot of games with tanks, right? So that's where you want to pick Corki. Ziggs is Ziggs, guys. He's just so broken. He deals so much damage. Like, he literally deals the most damage from any other champion in the game. His poke damage, his sustain damage, his everything is just insane. Also, his escapability. He can easily escape from enemies. It's just, he has it all. He really has it all. And Zed, I've put Zed in the S plus tier because honestly, Zed just feels so powerful now. And the reason that Zed now feels powerful is, you guys remember when they nerfed a lot of the mid lane champions? And what they nerfed about the mid lane champions is they reduced their armor by 5. This is obviously an indirect buff to Zed. Also, the armor penetrating item, I forgot the name. The armor penetrating item that slows the enemy. I forgot the name of it, but like, not Mortal Reminder, but the other one, the armor penetrating item that slows the enemy, is absolutely perfect for Zed. You can just slow the enemy, making it way easier to hit them with your abilities. With the Shuriken, right? It's gonna be way easier to hit the enemy with your Shuriken because they're gonna be slowed by 30%, which is really, really big, especially when you use that ultimate on Zed. Akali, even though she received that nerf, she's still S plus tier in the mid lane because the nerf doesn't really hurt her a lot in the mid lane because her assassination potential is still the exact same as before. Galio S tier, almost S plus tier. All you gotta do with Galio is pick him against melee ability power champions. That's what I was looking for. Melee ability power champions. So Evelynn, Katarina, Akali, Fizz, you know, these types of champions. If you pick him against them, S tier, S plus tier even, they can't do anything against you. You just absolutely hard counter them. You're gonna get a free lane and you can easily skill into the late game and do an insane amount of damage, guys. Also, when these ability power melee champions engage on you, you have your second ability to taunt them, which just provides so much value, guys. After that, Twisted Faith is just really, really good, guys. He received some buffs and he's just really powerful in the mid lane. Katarina, even though she got that huge nerf, she's not S plus tier anymore. She's not on top of the S tier anymore, which she used to be. She's just sitting on the bottom of the S tier. And let me tell you that you need to be a Katarina one trick for her to even be S tier anymore. If you're not like amazingly good on Katarina, she would be somewhere here, like on top of the A tier. But Katarina one tricks are really good at the champion, so it's still S tier for them. They can still hard carry games, although it's gonna be way harder because you have way less HP to play around with. The green foot yet again is Akshan. Akshan is viable in the mid lane, not amazingly powerful because he does a bit better against melee champions, but he works in mid lane. He just works. Orianna works, you know, Diana works. Irelia is also a skillful champion. If you're really skillful with Irelia, she could be on the bottom of the S tier, but I put her on top of the S tier. Just, you know, she's strong. She's just really, really strong, but it takes a lot of skill to play her well. Cannon, questionable again. I don't really know if he's going to be good in the mid lane. I just, you know, I've played Cannon in the mid lane. I've seen Cannon in the mid lane. It just feels really weak against other champions. You can get poked out so easily in the mid lane. So I don't like Cannon in the mid lane, but with the buffs, maybe. But yeah. Aurelion Saw, you guys, man, I can't believe yesterday's video's comment, the most liked comment on yesterday's video was Aurelion Saw. Really? Am I really gonna have to play Aurelion Sol? I've never played Aurelion Sol before. I know he sucks because when I see him in my team or enemy teams, I ask around, they all like, he just sucks right now in the meta. Alright, on to the Dragon Lane, and here it gets interesting. This is where it gets super interesting. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is not Cannon. I'll talk about Cannon later, which is Nasus, guys. What the hell is Nasus doing on top of the S tier in the Dragon Lane tier list? Dragon Lane. Nasus. Yes. AP Nasus, guys. It's so strong in the Dragon Lane. I almost put it in the S plus tier, but the only reason that I did not put it in the S tier is because this is a solo queue tier list. AP Nasus, you know, he provides everything except for solo carry potential. If you play AP Nasus in duo queue, he would be here. Like, I would actually put him, no, not here, somewhere here, like, you know, in the middle of the S plus tier. Because if you play with an actual good Senna, you're gonna dominate your lane, you're gonna provide so much value to your team, S plus tier for sure. But if you play him in solo queue with another Senna that is probably not gonna be as good, S tier, you know, still really, really good, just not utterly broken. In the S plus tier, we have Kai'Sa, Ezreal, and Varus. Kai'Sa, you know, Kai'Sa is just Kai'Sa. She just provides so much value. It's always a good pick, S plus tier. Ezreal, also with that new armor penetrating item, is always going to be slowing with his first ability, and he always fits into the comp. That's the thing with him. Varus, I underestimated Varus on my last tier list. I had put him on top of the A tier, but now S plus tier, guys. On the bottom of the S plus tier, he just provides so much. The poking and the second ability as well. It shreds through tanks when they're at low HP. The ultimate, like the 2-second root on the ultimate, and then it spreads out as well. Just everything about Varus makes him absolutely incredible. And yet again, that new armor penetrating item. Why did I forget the name of it? I can't believe I forgot the name. Every arrow you shoot, and if you hit like multiple enemies, they're all gonna be slowed with that new armor penetrating item. So that's what makes Varus S plus tier, guys. Lucian has dropped from the S plus tier to the S tier because of the Solari nerf and the Essence Reefer nerf, because those were his core items. He's still really powerful, just not broken anymore. Vayne S tier. The thing about Vayne is she's pretty broken if you pick her in the right comp, but there's a lot of champions that can actually punish Vayne, which is assassins or very long-range champions like Senna, maybe even Ashe, Misfortune, you know, Jinx. These are all champions that can actually really destroy Vayne in the lane. I don't know why I can't think of words right now, but yeah. Corki, if you're playing against a Braum in your lane, pick Corki. That's all I'm gonna say. Braum or Alistar, but especially Braum. Corki is the absolute hardest counter to Braum. So if the enemy picks Braum, you pick Corki. Xayah is really powerful, although she did move down a little bit because they nerfed Rakan-Xayah combination, which was utterly broken. So now she's still really good. Don't get me wrong, she's still really good, but not amazingly good. What is happening here? Yeah, Jinx, you have to pick her with Lulu. If you pick her with Lulu, she's S tier. Otherwise, she's just A tier. Draven, A tier as well. The thing with Draven is he's just so high risk, high reward, and they did buff Bloodthirster, which is a really good item on the Draven, but I just feel like it doesn't really fit that well into the meta. Like Varus can poke him, Kai'Sa can play safe against him, Ezreal can, well actually Ezreal really sucks against Draven, I take that back, but Draven is just powerful. Let me just tell you that he's powerful, but not amazingly powerful. And the green foot yet again is Akshan. Akshan feels decent in Dragon Lane, very decent, like in the A tier, which is quite good, but not amazing. Misfortune, I've put her up quite a lot. I made a Misfortune video a couple days ago. She feels really strong, and I feel like she's very underrated. I don't know why people are not playing her. She's really strong. Like I never see her in my rank matches. Why? Essence Reefer, like all these items, the crit items, I have a build for her. Just check out my video. Are so amazing on her, guys. You should really play her and check out my video on her. Jhin, see the thing with Jhin is he sucks. But the item Storm Razor, if you know which one it is, which slows the enemy by like 70% for 1 second if you hit them, that's what makes Jhin strong, his catching out potential, and then you can root the enemy, things like that. But Jhin does not provide any damage per second. That's the problem of Jhin. So, you know, Jin's solo carry potential is not as big as the other ADCs, but the value that he can provide to the team is still very strong. By the way, guys, just interrupting you quick. If you want to check out my Patreon, there is a link in the description. You can subscribe to me. It's a paid subscription. I offer coaching. You can request champions to me. You can see exclusive behind the scenes stuff, blah, blah, blah. Just check it out if you want to, you know. It supports me a lot, and you can get some exclusive benefits. Get that out of the way. Ashe, so even though Ashe is all the way at the bottom of the B tier, I do want to say that Ashe is viable in certain compositions against certain compositions. For example, if you're playing against a Jhin, just pick Ashe. You're gonna demolish the Jhin in the lane. Ashe, see, the only thing that Ashe really has is that she has two things. She has a lot of CC and she has range. Damage, she doesn't have. She really lacks a lot of damage. So if your team already has a decent amount of damage, and if you feel like the slow of Ashe is going to provide your team a lot of value. For example, when you're playing with an Alistar, you can slow the enemy with Ashe's basic attacks, and then Alistar can engage. You know, that's a good combination. But you don't want to be playing Ashe with an Enchanter support, because you don't deal damage. You want to be playing her with CC. You know, you want to combo your CC with your teammates. So here we got Cannon with the question mark tier. I don't want to lie to you guys, I have no idea what the hell is gonna happen to Cannon ADC. He received some attack damage buffs, but I have not tested it out yet. I have no clue whatsoever how good it's gonna be. So we're gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see. I cannot tell you anything about it yet. Alright, onto the support tier list, and honestly, almost nothing has changed. The only thing that really changed, as I said, is Thresh, the green foot. Here it is actually Thresh. So Thresh moved up all the way to the S tier, on top of the S tier, because of all the buffs. Thresh actually got really good buffs, making him way tankier. Also, the third ability, they reduced the cooldown from 10 seconds to 6 seconds. So it's gonna do, you're gonna have it up way more often. The damage, the damaging attack. So that's basically the only change. Nami broken, Lulu broken if you pick her with Jinx or Vayne. Senna absolutely broken. This champion can actually carry as the support role. And the rest, I'm not really gonna talk too much about it. It's the same as the last tier list. They're all good supports, but these are really the broken supports right here. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about the supports because it's just boring. Who cares about support, right? So thank you guys very much for watching. No, I'm joking. No, we care about support. I'm gonna talk a bit more about it. I'm so sorry, that was so disrespecting to support mates. Braum is fairly decent, however you have to pick Braum if the enemy has a lot of projectiles to throw. So if you're against a Graves, for example, Braum is perfect against Graves because he blocks all of his shots, right? If you're against an Ezreal or a Misfortune, you pick Braum. You want to pick Braum against those types of champions. Of course, you don't pick Braum against Corki because he just shreds right through you. You don't pick Braum against Lux, you don't pick Braum against Lucian. Never pick Braum against Lucian, guys, because his laser also shoots right through your shield. So that's kind of the rule of thumb with Braum. And Seraphim, so they changed the thing about Seraphim. You can go for Rylai's Scepter, which is the slowing item, and with that, your third ability is always going to root the enemy. And when you have an empowered third ability, it's actually going to stun the enemy, because the slow of Rylai is going to stack, it's going to work with your passive. So that's what makes Seraphim a bit better. You can build that item, making her CC way better, guys. Leona, Alistar, very good engaging supports. Just feels a bit underwhelming compared to the rest, but yeah, they're just good. So now we finally ended the tier list, guys, and yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye bye.